Hey, so you're thinking about moving to Wasaga Beach or Collingwood and you're not sure how much to spend? Well, in this video, I'm gonna go through what a $700,000 to $900,000 price range can get you. So you can spend the best bang for your buck, depending on your lifestyle, your wants and needs, and just where you want to be. So I'm going to hop into my computer. I'm going to go over and compare some listings on both sides of the border of Wasaga Beach and Collingwood, and explain a few of, at least just a few of my thoughts, and see what you think. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Wasaga Beach or Collingwood, well, please subscribe to this channel and tap the bell for notifications. That way, you will be the first to know everything that's happening in Wasaga Beach and Collingwood. My name is Kevin DeSilva, and I'm a local real estate agent here. And I get calls all the time from people just like you that are looking to move here or buy a cottage here in Wasaga Beach or Collingwood, or they just want to know more. So it doesn't matter if you're looking to move in 9 days, 9 months, next year, doesn't matter. If you just want to learn more, in the description box of this video, there's all the ways you can reach out to me, including a Zoom call where we can do a screen share and get to know each other a little bit before you make the trip up, or just make the trip up and we can go for a drive and tour some homes. Now let's dive into my computer and compare what $700,000 to $900,000 gets you in Wasaga Beach versus Collingwood. All right, so we are comparing Wasaga Beach versus Collingwood, $700,000 to $900,000 price range. I know it's a big price range, but it can cover a lot of ground. So we're going to do 700 to 900 comparing Wasaga Beach over to Collingwood. All right, so let's go into this, and we'll start on the Collingwood side, and we'll go to, let's say, okay, let's start at the Summit View neighborhood by Devonleigh Homes. Fairly new neighborhood. They're still building phases of it and stuff like that. Really nice. It's on the west side of Collingwood, off of High Street in Poplar. And there's a mix of homes in there. So there's some nice detached homes, there's some nice townhouses. So let's have a look in there. Look, what does the 7,010 range get you? This is a 3-bed, 3-bath, end unit townhome. Brick on the main floor, vinyl on the top. And honestly, these are brand new. So you'll have your typical builder finishes. Some will be more upgraded, but your 3-bed, 3-bath home, $710,000, as you see right here. Okay. So what if we click around on some other stuff? So let's say that was 710, 715. Okay, 715 looks like a similar product. Again, you got a end unit townhome, looks like just like the other one, for 715. So you can start seeing a pattern. 2 have sold. We're going to focus on red. Remember, red means sold, the red icons. Green means for sale. Red is market value. If it sells for that price, it's market value. And if it's for sale, sometimes it's not always well represented, depending on how realistic the asking prices are. So I'm going to focus on just the red icons and some sold prices. I might touch on a few of the for sale ones, but I'm going to focus more on the red ones. So here, what about 755? Here's another red one, 3-bed, 3-bath. But now you can see you're in a 1.5 story or a two-story home, right? Now you're in a detached. That's not a very big difference from 715 to 755. Now you're stepped up from an end unit townhouse or a townhouse in those lower sevens. 755, you're in a detached home. Similar, it's the same builder, similar finishes, just more space. Yeah, so that's what you can expect over here. 690. What about 690? Townhouse. Maybe it's 690 because it's not an end unit. So without that, I'm not going to get super into details on each of these homes. So those other ones for 710 and 715 were end unit townhomes, whereas this doesn't seem like it's an end unit. So there's that value difference from end unit to linked on both sides, right? So 690, again, similar finishes, stuff like that. So that's what you can expect there. If I go around, let's say, okay, let's try Creekside right here. Creekside, great subdivision on the west side of Collingwood. Let's see what 830 gets you. It's only a 2-bed, 3-bath, but that's a bungalow, like straight bungalow, not a raised bungalow. Now, comparing to Wasaga, like we're doing in this video, Wasaga Beach has a lot of raised bungalows, not that straight walk-in, where this you can see is a straight walk-in. It's not raised. Stick around, you'll see that as we go to the Wasaga side in just a minute. 715. What's about 715? There you go. Now you're really seeing the consistency. This is the 3rd home we're seeing that's a townhome in the lower sevens, and that's an end unit in a different subdivision. The first ones were in Summerview. This one is in Creekside. So you could see some of the differences. This one's got a double car garage too. Awesome value there. All right, let's close that one. What if we went over to let's go to Wasaga. Let's hop over to Wasaga. We might hop back and forth a little bit. Let's start in the West End Wasaga. So off of Ramblewood, there's quite a few new developments here. So let's see what's going on. Some of the newer homes. 760. Now look at this. The 760 mark gets you a pretty large 2-car garage, 2-story home. Okay, whereas the ones we were pulling up in Summit View in Collingwood and in Creekside, they were smaller homes for that mid-7 range. So for this one, I'd say that's pretty good value. You do tend to get a little bit more bang for your buck per square foot and finishes in Wasaga than you do in Collingwood. But they're only 15 minutes apart. So if I go out here, between here and here, it's only a 15 to 20 minute drive. You could save a significant amount of money and get more bang for your buck in Wasaga Beach, depending on the pocket and depending on what's important to you. If you want to be right in town Collingwood, right closer, you will typically pay a little bit more for a similar home. All right, so let's continue on back here in Wasaga. Let's pull up some other houses, some other ones off of Ramblewood. So this would be not brand new like the one I just showed, but fairly new. But you'll see here the raised bungalow that I was just talking about, comparing that one in Collingwood. That was a straight bungalow. You walk in and the ground floor level is right there. Wasaga Beach has a lot of these where there's some steps. You'll see some steps over here, and you go to the steps up, you see the steps right here, the steps up, go inside, or sometimes the steps are on the inside of the house. I actually prefer them on the outside of the house, because when they're on the inside, it gets a little tight when you're going to the closet, which is typically 5 steps up when you go on the main floor. So I actually like when you walk in the steps on the outside. That's a personal preference of mine. Some people like the steps on the inside. Let's see, on Robinson Road. So this would have, perfect example of the steps on the inside. Didn't do that on purpose, by the way. So you'd walk into this house right here, and you could see the ground level is right between these 2 windows. Right? There's your lower level, there's your upper level. Okay, so this is a perfect example of the steps. It's still a raised bungalow, even though it doesn't really look like it from the outside. But you can really just tell by looking at this and where these windows are and stuff. So as you walk in, you'll walk in the door, and then you'll probably go up the steps right here on the inside. There'll be a closet there for you to put your things away. That's why I said I prefer them on the outside, so you can walk in and be like, you could be on the main living floor right there, and then the closets are right there. You don't have to, it's not as tight as when the stairs are on the inside, but that's how on the outside. If we go over to the newer part of Wasaga Sands, so Wasaga Sands Drive, this is like the older part of Wasaga Sands, all through here. Some of the really nice big lots are over here, and then there's this Pearl Street that goes over here. And this is the newer section of Wasaga Sands right over here. So I'm going to zoom in there and show you what some houses can go for in there. Again, focusing on sold. So 780,000. This is the house. 2-car garage, 2-story. Yeah, I'd say this is pretty good value. Remember, in the mid 7s or upper 7s, you were getting a smaller detached home in Collingwood. In the lower 7s, remember, they were townhomes. So that's something to note. If we go over to 817, get you a brick home, big home, and again, this is a 4-bedroom home, whereas the ones in Collingwood for around this price were a 2-bedroom home or a 3-bedroom home in the detached range. But you get a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom home. You basically get double the bedrooms, double the bathrooms for a similar price, in this example at least. Okay, 805, again, similar home. 10,000 or 12,000 bucks less, same area, same street actually. So what if we go over to the Sunnydale subdivision, where there's a lot of homes for sale right now? 810, again, there's your outside entrance for your raised bungalow, very common over here. Okay, but 810, brand new home. This is a brand new subdivision, so these are all brand new homes. What else over here? 700 gets you an end unit townhouse. So this is interesting. So this is getting similar to the Collingwood prices. Remember the lower 7 end unit townhomes that are new in Creekside and in Summit View. You can get one in Wasaga Beach for similar price based off of some of these recent sales. So the difference seems to be more on the detached side or you can get more home for a similar price in the Wasaga Beach side. But on the townhome front, they're a little closer in price gap, right? 797 again, double car garage, big home, modern. Let's move on. And then once you get into any of these homes off of River Road, these are a bit more established, like 20, 25-year-old homes, 30-year-old homes, and they hover in the 7s and 8s, as you can see here. You know, raised bungalow again, steps on the inside on this one. Again, you can see between the windows is where the floor would be. So yeah, but again, nice home, nice looking home. That's pretty standard for this area. This would be, that's a big difference from the last one. That could just be finishes inside or something like that, or a lot. I think this one backs onto a bit more private treat area. What else? We can go over to the Silver Birch subdivision, and there's tons in here. 714, again, raised bungalow, brick. But so here's the detached difference I'm talking about. A $714,000 price, which was the same as some of those end unit townhomes in Collingwood or that end unit townhouse in Wasaga. If you go to the Silver Birch neighborhood, you get a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom home. So there's definitely, it's, even though they're so close together, we're talking 15, 20-minute drive time differences. The price gaps can change a lot in the $700,000 and $800,000 mark, depending between not just Wasaga Beach versus Collingwood, but even the pockets of Wasaga Beach and Collingwood, right? The Silver Birch is a great spot. There's Birchview Dunes Public School right here. Great family neighborhood over there. And then we got Georgian Sands on the east side of town. So things on this, so 715. Again, here's another example of the low 7s getting you a full detached home. Whereas some of those other areas in Collingwood and even Sunnydale in Wasaga, 715 was getting you an end unit townhouse. Now the end unit townhouses were pretty good in space and stuff like that, and they're an end unit. But here you go, 715 for and 778 in this side here. That's a great price, by the way. They got a good price for that house. 700. See, 700. Raised again. There's your steps again. Not that it's a bungalow, but it's always steps in Wasaga Beach. Not always, but like 90% of the time to get into the house. So yeah, that's what can get you there. Let's hop back to Collingwood and look at a few other pockets here. We focused on the west side. Let's go to the east side a little bit. Let's go to Indigo Estates. All right, 770. Hey, that's a pretty good house for 770. It's a smaller scale house. That one is, where was that one? 3-bed, 2-bath. Whereas for that price in Wasaga, you were getting like a 4-bed, 4-bath. So again, those are just some of the price differences. There could be a $50,000 to $100,000. I would say $50,000 to $100,000 price difference for a similar detached house in Wasaga Beach versus Collingwood. Now there are some anomalies, but I do see that very often. 800 for a 4-bed, 3-bath corner unit. This is Indigo Estates right here. They're building Pretty River Estates right here. That's coming soon. 780 end unit townhome. How many bedrooms and baths? So on Robertson, a 3-bed, 4-bath end unit townhome. Now, some of those other townhomes, remember, they were the lower 7s. So this one, you could tell it's really nice. It's got these interlock. It's probably finished really nice inside. So that's where some of the price anomalies you might get thrown off by, well, why did that one go for 715 if it was an end unit? This one's 780. There's more to look at, right? I'm trying to keep it high level. If you want to know more details, book a call with me and we'll do a deep dive. Okay. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a bigger overview here. On Lockhart, awesome subdivision. Lockhart is very well established. Probably one of my favorite neighborhoods in Collingwood. I do like hanging out there. But yeah, so the 700s will get you you could clearly see it's a fixer-upper bungalow, raised bungalow. You always tell by the windows where the stairs are if you don't see them outside. Here we go. In the 7, you can see some prices where I'm hovering over these. We're to 760, 800,000, 769. So upper 7s, close to 8, right? Let's see what some of these look like. 4-bed, 4-bath. I think this is great value right here. Honestly, I really do. But yeah, that's just, some of the townhome versus detached, Wasaga Beach versus Collingwood, 700 versus 800, and in the eights. So yeah, there's just a lot to look at. If condo living is important to you, Wasaga Beach doesn't really have much condo living. There are a few. We can compare those right now. So condo living in Collingwood, you got Lighthouse Point right here. Lighthouse Point is great. So you can get this. This is a 2-bed. This is a 2-bed, 2-bath condo in Lighthouse Point. $670 for this one. Quite a difference there, right? Yeah, no, like a bit of a difference. Could just be finishes between that, $80,000 or $60,000 gap. But that's what you would get. You could expect something in the sevens. If you go to the for sale prices, 755, 789, 899. Maybe that one has really nice finishes or something. But if I go over and compare a condo in that price range, probably won't even come up in Wasaga Beach because they don't actually sell that high. They're in the fours, $400,000 range. So they're not even coming up because I'm pulling up sevens, and now they're not necessarily waterfront like the Lighthouse Point condos, so maybe not a fair assessment. But in Marlwood, 842, you got a 5-bed. Look at this home, 5-bed, 5 baths for 842. That was getting you a 2-bed, 2-bath bungalow in Creekside in Collingwood. So the pockets, it's all about the pockets. That's why it's so hard to just pick one. That's why I always tell the clients, let's go for a drive, watch some of these videos, get a sense for the different areas because they're so different. And let me take you on a tour and let's look at some different stuff. Even I'm going to even suggest some stuff you might not consider in some of these pockets, because depending on what on our first call, when we talk about what's important to you and what you want and what you like, I might divert from that a little bit. I'll take that information, but I might divert and say, yeah, let's just take a drive by there and have a look at Fairway Crescent in Marlwood. It's not everybody knows about these pockets, or to go over to Oxbow and 770. It's going to get you an older home, but this is on the river. This is a totally different lifestyle. You're going to go kayaking now, right? And if that's important to you, but it's very, very different. And what your appetite is for renovations. Like, so many of these things matter. You want brand new, walk-in, move-in ready, modern, or are you okay with putting in some elbow grease and paying that same price instead of a 5-bed, 5-bath home, buy something like this on the river, on the Wasaga River, for a different lifestyle? It just really depends, right? It's all about these pockets. So yeah, super, super important there. There's your condo comparison. Let's look for some other condos here. There's some of the new ones up here. Or actually, no, not the new. There's a bunch of new ones over here, but what about yeah, these are probably off of Oxbow there, right? Yeah, Dawson and Oxbow. Yeah. So these are in the 8s. There's smaller ones in the 4s and 5s too, but I'm just comparing some of the condos. But overall, like your detached homes, there's a difference between in a brand new subdivision or in a more developed area like Lockhart area, or Summitview, or Creekside, or Indigo, or are we going over to Wasaga Sands, or Sunnydale Subdivision, or Georgian Sands on the other side of Wasaga? Within the two communities, Wasaga Beach versus Collingwood, townhomes seem to be fairly similar in price depending on finishes. But the main difference is definitely in the detached homes. There could be a $50,000 to $100,000 difference. And sometimes there are big differences in the townhomes too. But currently in this market, as of today of making this video, the townhomes are hovering around those low sevens for those nice end unit townhomes in either community. So just, something to note. But yeah, that's Wasaga Beach. That's $700,000 to $900,000 Wasaga Beach versus Collingwood. I know that was super high level and I could have gone into way more detail, but I do hope you got some value out of that. But if you want more specific information and specific comparables, specific comparisons for what you're looking for, again, all my contact information is in the description box of this video, or you can even book a Zoom call directly on my calendar at a time that works for you. Remember, if this is your first time on the channel and you want to see more of these videos, subscribe and tap the bell for notifications. That way you'll just be the first to know everything that's happening here. My name is Kevin De Silva and I'm a local real real estate agent here in Wasaga Beach and Collingwood, and I'm looking forward to helping you make a smooth move to Collingwood or Wasaga Beach.